Hi, Charles.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Simcenter Testlab Neo Impact Acquisition 2506 has a pretty cool new feature. It's called Smart Hit Selection. Have you seen it?
No, tell me about it.
Well, when you set up your impact measurement, so I got my force and acceleration here, and I got a little structure where I got a hammer and an accelerometer. I'm going to do a bunch of hits, and the smart hit selection is going to go through. It's going to get rid of hits with overloads, double hits. It's going to optionally check that the force levels are consistent between my hits, and then it'll check how consistent or how coherent my FRFs are. Let me show you how this works.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Let's see this.
Yeah, if I go into impact here, I'll pick my force under hammer setup. I can hit start here, and then I'll take a single hit on my structure. There you can see my hit there, Charles. It's about 2 newtons or so, so I don't know, 0.6 newtons maybe is a good trigger level. And then I can go straight to measure here. And here in the Neo Impact Acquisition, I can say I want to take 10 hits total. But for my smart hit selection, all the settings are under this magic wand here, Charles. I can say I want to get at least 3 good hits, maybe a maximum of 6 good hits that are all consistent, no overloads, etc. Okay.
Okay.
I'm also going to tell it, just for some extra dramatics, to not auto reject with overload. I'll let the smart hit selection do that. And now I'm going to hit start. We'll see how consistent I can be. I have 4 good hits. I'm being pretty good, Charles. Let me try and vary it up. I'm going to hit it really hard. So what happened there, Charles?
That's quite the overload. Impressive.
Yeah, and this column here, if I hold my mouse over it, says overload. So it flagged an overload, and it did not accept it. How about this time, Charles?
That one's twice as bad. Looks like a double hit.
Yeah, it's a double hit. Now there, Charles, I missed the structure entirely, but I thought I'd end on a good hit.
Yeah, I
Picture
always want to
some,
leave wanting more.
yeah. And so I've gone through and done all my hits. The green curve here is my coherence, my FRF, etc. The red curves, if I scroll through this list, these are the individual hits. So smart hit selection is recording all the hits individually, which is pretty nice. So yeah, if I come down here, I can see with that overload was really crazy what it did. I can also see things like double hits and their effect on the data. And then over here, when I didn't hit on the structure, obviously this was an inconsistent hit, not even close to the averaged FRF, so it automatically rejected it. So yeah, even trying to do bad hits, it wouldn't let me. That's pretty nice, huh?
It's pretty nice.
Yeah. The criteria it was using, if I look up here, it was looking for how similar the FRFs were. I could also tell it to look for FRFs that give a really high coherence. This might change some of the FRFs that it selected. Here you can see it hit a target of 99% coherence between hits. We had a target of 98%, so it achieved the target. Another interesting feature is you can see we have the peak force recorded here. If I go back to the hammer setup, here under the more, I can say I want to target something like 2 newtons and exclude any force that isn't around 2 newtons. So back under the magic wand, I can hit this force level deviation. I can say I want to be within 30% of 2 newtons on my hits. And now you can see that some of these peak forces turned red. You see that, Charles?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're way outside of 2 newtons. If I want to, I could tighten that up a bit. Let's try 15%. And you can see it got rid of one additional hit. And so if I had a structure that was pretty nonlinear as a function of the force level, I could ensure that out of a bunch of hits, I use all the hits that have very similar force level. And so if I like all my hits, Charles, I'm going to hit save here. And it will calculate some FRFs based on the hits that I have selected. If I go into the desktop, you'll actually see that in the data acquisition run, we have all the time histories of the individual hits. But after I hit save, I save the FRFs in this separate folder. And there's my averaged FRF based on my selections. If I didn't like some of the selections, I can actually override them, Charles. I can say, I wanted to include this super forceful FRF in here. So I clicked on that, and do you see that there's a little person icon there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now it's going to include this one. I forced it, I overrode the automatic selections to include that hit. And then if I was with the high level hit, I could hit save again. Do you think I should save this FRF? You like that coherence?
Not so much.
Yeah, sometimes maybe it's not a great idea that we let people select these. You can exclude them by clicking on them again. You can also hit this button up here and say discard all the selections and go back to all the automatic selections. I think this looks a little bit better again. It's a good thing they're not letting me manually pick them, huh, Charles?
Yeah, in this case, I'm gonna have to agree. Stick
Yeah,
with the auto hit selection.
yeah. Stuck with the auto hit selection. I hit save, I have my FRFs, and that's smart hit selection.
That was cool, Pete. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.